Warning, the Savage Nation contains adult language, adult content, psychological nudity. Listener discretion is advised. And now, the world's most exciting podcast, The Savage Nation, home of borders, language, culture. And here he is, New York Times best-selling author and National Radio Hall of Fame inductee, Michael Savage.
He can only be stopped.
The growing menace of communism arouses the House of Representatives Un-American Activities Committee. Among the well-informed witnesses testifying is J. Edgar Hoover, head of the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Mr. Hoover speaks with authority on the subject.
The Communist Party of the United States is a fifth column, if there ever was one. It is far better organized than were the Nazis in occupied countries prior to their capitulation. They are seeking to weaken America, just as they did in their era of obstruction when they were aligned with the Nazis. Their goal is the overthrow of our government. There is no doubt as to where a real communist loyalty rests. Their allegiance is to Russia, not the United States. Communism in reality is not a political party. It is a way of life, an evil and malignant way of life. It reveals a condition akin to disease that spreads like an epidemic. And like an epidemic, a quarantine is necessary to keep it from infecting this nation.
And the reason I believe we are going to win is that we have an unprecedented grassroots movement from coast to coast of millions of people. The reason that we are going to win is that we are putting together an unprecedented, multi-generational, multiracial political movement.
Welcome to the Savage Nation. This is Michael. I'm here today, of course. And let me say again, this is the Michael Savage School of Advanced Political Science. Everyone gets an A in this class. My favorite professor didn't grade people. He gave everyone an A so you could actually listen to him and learn. He was my genetics professor. He was the chairman of the department. We thought he was silly and old and a doddering guy. But as a result of not having test pressure, we all learned a lot more. And that's what I hope you do on this program. A guy like Bernie Sanders is a con man from the get-go, and I've told you that. I know the type. I ran from New York to get away from the Bernie Sanders types. They're the worst sort, the worst type. In every people, there's a worst type. He's the worst type of my people. But having said that, millions of people are gulled by him. Millions of people are deceived by him. And so I have to spend some time today to try to elucidate who this man actually is. It's been said that socialism enters through a ballot, while communism enters through a bullet. But make no mistake about it, while the nice old seltzer man from New York looks like a nice old seltzer man from New York who only wants fairness and clean water, and everyone should be happy. That's not what he wants. What he wants is absolute power and a totalitarian way of life. He wants communism. If you look at socialism and communism, the twin sisters of evil, you will find that they're one and the same. One is the more peaceful approach. The other is the more violent approach. And wherever communism has appeared, millions of people have died. So that's the opening. I mean, we're going to talk about the Bolshevik winning in New Hampshire, a nation that has gone from live free or die to live like me or cry under Bernie Sanders. But what does democratic socialism really mean? Many of you are children and naive, and you really think there's a thing called democratic socialism. There's no such thing. Either it's socialism or it's not socialism. It's like it's either cancer or not cancer. Now, there are varieties of cancer, and there are stages of cancer. Let's put it to you that way. As you well know, there's stages 1, 2, 3, and 4 in cancer. Maybe there are others. I'm not an oncologist. Bernie Sanders is a stage 2 cancer on the political landscape. He is a clear Bolshevik. Now, what is a Bolshevik? Go back to the Bolshevik Revolution of 1917 in Russia, and you see that Bolshevik means a person who was a Bolshevik, was a member of the majority faction of the Russian Social Democratic Party, Listen to those words. The Russian Social Democratic Party, which renamed itself the Communist Party after seizing power in the October Revolution of 1917. So you say, well, why am I getting so worked up over him? Look, first of all, he got more votes the last time around in New Hampshire. I call it New Hampshire because that's part of the reason he's popular there. It is in many ways one of the drug locus. I say one of the locuses of drug addiction in America is New Hampshire. Everyone knows that. There's a terrible opioid crisis in New Hampshire because there's a lot of poverty in New Hampshire. And poverty breeds desperation. Poverty breeds anger. Poverty breeds desperation in the voter who thinks that somebody screwed him, that his downtrodden lifestyle is a result of somebody else. And then into that enters a demagogue like the old seltzer man, Bernie Sanders. So I told you what the Bolsheviks are in Russia. And if you look at the Bolshevik Revolution, I want to go back to the beginning. It was founded by Vladimir Lenin, you may have heard his name, and Alexander Bogdanov. And they split from the more liberal Menshevik faction of the Marxist Russian Social Democrat Labor Party, which was a revolutionary socialist political party formed in 1898 at its second party Congress in 1903. What happened then? After forming their own party in 1912, the Bolsheviks took power in Russia in November 1917. Listen to this next line. Overthrowing the liberal provisional government of Kerensky, and became the only ruling party in the subsequent Soviet Russia and its successor regime, the Soviet Union. They considered themselves the leaders of the revolutionary working class of Russia, and their beliefs and practices were often referred to as Bolshevism. You should study Kerensky, the liberal provisional government that was running Russia before the Bolsheviks took power, and you could see what could happen in any country. Now, you may say it can't happen here. People are too fat and happy. You may be right. It can't happen here now. But the demographic shift in America, which is why Obama flooded America with third world dummies, is to make sure it could happen here. You must understand that Obama, like Sanders, is a lifetime revolutionary socialist / communist. The only thing that's changed is that both of them become wealthy. Sanders on a minor scale and Obama on a major scale. And now that things have changed, you don't hear Obama screaming for the revolution anymore, do you? Now that he has the $100 million book deal, the $100 million Netflix deal, now that he had 3 mansions before he left office, no one asked any questions. Where was Jake Tapper then? Whose behind was he licking at that time? Pardon me, Jake. You know, it's because of guys like Jake Tapper that a bum like Bernie Sanders could get this far. It's because of guys like Wolf Blitzer that Obama could get away with virtual murder during 8 years of a terror tactic in this nation. So here we are. You say, well, it can't happen here. Trump's going to win by a landslide. We hope so. But let's say Trump wins by a landslide and we have another 8 good years of Donald Trump. It's a long time from now. Remember that. But let's say that happens and Trump is healthy for those years. I hope he is with the diet he's eating. I don't know, man. I don't know. No one tells him a thing. I had the hot dogs on Air Force One. I never eat hot dogs. I had ice cream with him in Mar-a-Lago. I don't eat ice cream. Then I had hot dogs on the airplane with him. I don't eat hot dogs. Maybe that's what happened to me. I don't know. Maybe it was the ice cream and the hot dogs. No, I'm joking. He could be one of those people I call a nutritional rogue, which means no matter what he eats, he's going to live to a ripe old age. He's one of those survivors. There are people like that. Most are not like that. You're probably not like that. And he may be one of those very strong genetic individuals, and I hope he is. So let's say he lives out the whole 8 years of his next term, God willing, and we have a prosperous 8 years and relative world peace. What happens then? He can't run again. What happens then is the millions of illegal aliens and the hundreds of millions, or the tens of millions of disaffected, youthful, brainwashed Americans are seething under the surface, waiting for the revolution. And on top of them, Sanders will be gone by then. He's not going to be around that much longer. There's no way a man could have a heart attack and 2 stents and keep up what he's doing for very long. No way. I'm sorry. It would defy, by the way, all medical knowledge for a man of his age, of his weak stature, his weak genetics, and to have had a heart attack and go on like he goes on, barnstorming through America, waving his arms and screaming with such hatred, and to live much longer. It's almost impossible to perceive, incidentally. He may be the first if he does. But beneath him, is a girl he trained while she was still working for his campaign. That girl is a stone-hearted racist. That girl hates white people. That girl thinks her race is superior to all those on the planet. And her name is Occasional Cortex. That, my friends, is what makes up for the Red Brigades. That, my friends, is what the Khmer Rouge was made up of. If you want to study what Occasional Cortex will do to this country, look no further than the Khmer Rouge in Cambodia. That is who she is. I'm Michael Savage. Again, this is the Michael Savage School of Advanced Political Science, where everyone gets an A.
The Savage Nation. It's Savage on demand.
Okay, you know I'm a car guy. You know I've had a Hellcat. And with the ever-increasing numbers of cars like Dodge, BMW, and Volkswagen, and models like the Hellcat, X3, and Jetta, it's now impossible to stock all the parts you need in a traditional chain storefront. We all know that. I'm a car guy, and I'm telling you, why endure often pointless or seemingly intimidating questioning and wait while a counterman orders the parts on his computer, choosing the only brand his warehouse happens to carry? You have computers with access to rockauto.com right in your home and in your pocket. One reason to repair and maintain your cars is to save money that you could then use for other important things like the mortgage or food. Why would you choose to spend 30%, 50%, 100% more for the exact same auto parts in a chain store or a new car dealership when you could do it at home on your own computer? Now, you may not know this, but chain stores have different price tiers for professional mechanics and do-it-yourselfers. RockAuto.com's prices are the same for everybody, and reliably low they are. RockAuto.com always offers the lowest prices possible, rather than changing prices based on what the market will bear like airlines do. RockAuto.com is for everybody and does not require membership or account login. Does not require this. You could just do it yourself. RockAuto.com is a family business, serving auto parts customers online for 20 years. Just go to rockauto.com to shop for auto and body parts from hundreds of manufacturers. They have everything from engine control modules and brake parts to tail lamps, motor oil, even new carpet sets. Whether it's for your classic or daily driver, get everything you need in a few easy clicks, delivered right to your door. The rockauto.com catalog is unique and remarkably easy to navigate. You can quickly see all the parts available for your vehicle and choose the brands, specifications, and prices you prefer. But best of all, prices at rockauto.com are always reliably low, and the same for professionals and do-it-yourselfers. Go to rockauto.com right now and see all the parts available for your car or truck. Write SAVAGE in their How Did You Hear About Us box so they know we sent you. That's SAVAGE. They have an amazing selection, reliably low prices, all the parts your car will ever need. Don't stand online in an auto parts store and wait for the hostile clerk to get back to you. Go to rockauto.com.
All the parts your car will ever need. Rock Auto. All the parts your car will ever need. RockAuto.com.
Communism in reality is not a political party. It is a way of life, an evil and malignant way of life. It reveals a condition akin to disease that spreads like an epidemic. And like an epidemic, a quarantine is necessary to keep it from infecting this nation.
Now, I realize many of you liberals listening to the show are laughing because you think that J. Edgar Hoover was defamed and shown to be a clown. He wore dresses and all that. He actually was a great FBI director, and he did keep communism from our doorstep. And we did have a UAC, which we need to bring back in America. I would volunteer to run that for Donald Trump if he wins a second term. We absolutely need another